After the mid-infrared, Diane, then there's the near-infrared. I just kind of coined it as the vanity wavelength because it's so special for helping the skin, and it does provide this wonderful beauty aspect on the surface of your skin versus a far infrared, it goes deep. So you glow from the inside out of the purification, and on the near infrared, it helps you on the surface accelerate cell turnover, help to repair wounds, and help with fine lines and wrinkles. And when you combine mid and far together, you get this beautiful, like symbiotic result in weight loss because you're increasing the amount of calories that you burn. So yeah, who doesn't want that? And we have also done a study on the belly fat and removing belly fat with using a Sunlighten signature, and showed a significant reduction in the waist reduction. Man, you have a really powerful healing tool in the comfort of your own home.
You're listening to Cleanse, Heal, Ignite podcast, and I'm your hostess, Diane Kaiser, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, former pro soccer player, transformational leader, holistic healer, and life purpose coach, helping you and your business awaken to your full potential. We are a transformation tribe of visionaries empowering passion-quenching, heart-centered advice to wellness warrior leaders on self-love, nutrition, mindset, and divorcing perfectionism. Our mission is to help you laugh your way to a sexy belly, love your way to vitality, and live your life with purpose by sharing real talk and truth drops that will help you cleanse your body, heal your hormones, and ignite your life. Side effects of this podcast may include all-day energy, happy hormones, perfect poops, increased confidence, becoming your own best healer, and catching the self-love virus. There's currently no vaccination to protect you from this and no known cure. In most cases, listeners experience a strong desire to accept new challenges, ditch toxic people, follow their heart, and dance like no one's watching. If you experience moods happier than usual, live it unapologetically and share with your social media friends immediately.
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot, I'm gonna take my clothes off and get into a full spectrum sauna. Okay, you guys, I want to bring to you Connie to talk about complete saunas and full spectrum saunas. Why is that? So the very first sauna that I ever had and produced and shopped around for was a near infrared sauna with Sauna Space, and I absolutely love it. The deal is that it's only near infrared. And so when it's just near infrared, you're missing the mid infrared and you're missing the far infrared wavelengths. And what's the difference? So you're gonna hear more about that in this episode, but near infrared essentially is good for cellular health, it's good for wound healing, skin rejuvenation, and pain relief. So it's a lot more about appearance, and it's not as much about pain relief and microcirculation and improved weight loss. That's where the mid-infrared technology benefits you're gonna find. Then there's the far infrared. Far infrared, you're gonna see more weight loss, you're gonna see more detoxification, higher blood pressure reduction, and just general relaxation. So when you have all of those things combined, that is a full spectrum infrared sauna. The near infrared is just limited to that near infrared rays. The reason that I ended up purchasing, full disclosure, the Sauna Space from the near infrared tent is for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it was my very first sauna and it was only $3,000. Number two, there was a lot of really positive hype about just using near infrared. And I've read that before from a lot of the blogs and articles that I'd read over 2 months worth of research before I ended up purchasing one. You guys will see a great interview that I've done with Brian Richards, the owner of Sauna Space, and I am no way saying that I don't recommend them anymore. But I did have an apartment when I purchased that. So when you have a small apartment or you're moving a lot, it's kind of difficult to move around like a 600-pound sauna. It's a lot to take down, it's a lot to carry, it's a lot to transport, put back together. So if you're somebody who doesn't move every year like I do, maybe something like the sauna that we're gonna talk about here, the full spectrum, is something that's better for you. You could put it in your garage like a lot of my clients do. And if it were me, I would much rather have a full infrared sauna for many of the reasons you're gonna hear in this episode. You're also gonna hear that there is a special discount code if you guys were interested in purchasing one and trying one out. Go for it, I would say, especially if you are somebody that tends to stay a little bit longer where you're at. This is my preferable sauna of choice. And then also, because the near infrared bulbs are something that is gonna take your body a lot longer to heat up. So one of the things that I haven't liked about using the near infrared technology is that it takes like 15 to 20 minutes sometimes for my body to really get a good sweat going. Versus if you just sit in a full spectrum, like the one we're going to talk about, literally from the moment you get into the sauna, you start sweating. So it's a lot more effective use of your time. And especially for those of you who I'm working with as clients, if you want deeper detoxification and weight loss, this is what I highly recommend. Deep detox is really important, especially for mercury in the mouth, for a lot of the things that I'm helping my clients remove, their breast implants, not so much for Botox. If you guys want to definitely listen to the episode I have done with Emily Shannon, I think that was episode number 14 for Cleanse, Heal, Ignite, on her journey with breast implants and Botox, and why it's very important to be very careful about detox when you're doing some of these protocols, especially after, soon after having a Botox treatment or soon after having your breast implants removed. But it tends to be more forgiving to do full spectrum detoxification saunas. So listen to this episode. You're going to hear a lot about the story of how this even got created, and then also really be mindful that there's a lot of junk out there, and we're going to talk about some of that. Just going to the gym as a sauna, or just going to do infrared workouts at little gyms. It's not going to cut it. It's not the same type of technology as having a full spectrum sauna. The ones at the gym are just going to heat you from the outside versus heat you up from the inside, which mimics the flu and pushes out a lot of toxins and pathogens, which is what we all need, especially at this point, to boost our immunity. And then also there's a lot of junk out there that you might buy at Costco or see on Amazon, a lot of fake reviews, a lot of stuff that just has a lot of EMFs, electronic magnetic frequencies, and radiation from a lot of these, let's say, smart devices that are installed inside of these saunas. And then also a lot of them are made with really bad rubbers and glues and things that emit toxins when you're inside of this hot square. So without further ado, this is the reason why I brought Connie on, so we can really dispel the myths that are out there. I personally believe this is the best sauna that's out there, the best bang for your buck, and the best one that's going to last you a long time. So let's make it hot in here and get into the episode.
Hey, beauty warriors. Welcome back to another one of our shows to discuss how we can attain more beauty, energy, and vitality with various things that are out there. And there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of hacks out there. There's a lot of confusion out there of the things that are draining your beauty, energy, and vitality and causing disease, and the things that can build it. So today we're going to talk with Connie Zach, and she is the founder of Sunlighten. She's sitting in a square box, which you're going to find out a little bit more about where she's sitting in a little bit. But Connie, first, I wanted to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Diane. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Me too. And obviously we planned our outfits because we totally matched today. So Connie, I wanted to start with your story because it's a very beautiful story, and you are an absolute rock star, and only rock stars are allowed on our show.
Right back at you.
Rock stars attract likes, rock stars. And so you have a beautiful story on how you came to sit in the box that you're in right now and develop what you have. So can you share a little bit more about how you got here?
Sure. So it was really my brother who was chronically ill over 20 years ago, and his dentist recommended far infrared heat as a way to pull out the mercury that was leaking into his body from fillings. And he was extremely ill from those heavy metals absorbing in his body. He wasn't able to move. He wasn't able to go on vacation. He was young. It was horrible. You tried everything and nothing worked. And a very ancient version now of our technology that Sunlighten has developed is what he started with, and noticed a big difference in how he felt really after a couple of sessions. And then he stayed inside. At that time, it was a very small, far infrared sauna box, and kept using it. And over time, it healed him. And that was when I saw that experience. I was in the pharmaceutical division of another company trying to make a difference. And I've always been really, my heart is in leaving this world a healthier place and making a difference with people. And that's what I was intending to do over there. When I saw this happen with my brother, I was like, oh my gosh, Jason, this is incredible. You're a totally different person. And so I encouraged him to start. So he actually originally is the person who started the business and started educating people, started going to shows. And then a couple of years later, after the business had gotten off the ground, he developed a website is when I entered and left my career, my safe career. It's, when I think about it, it kind of really freaks me out that I just left, and myself and my husband, Aaron, joined with my brother, and we decided our mission, we were going to unite together and develop a more effective, more efficient, higher quality, safe, all natural materials, like clean, like the best and most effective therapeutic product on the market for far infrared, bringing far infrared light and heat to the market. And that's what we have done. And that was over 20 years ago.
20 years. That's rare. 20 years is rare for anybody to be in a relationship for that long, or to be and it's like your passion, what you do is a relationship, and it's a beautiful one. Because I don't know a lot of people who would leave a stable, what sounds like a high paying job in pharmaceutical land to do what you did and take a huge risk. I mean, that had to have been pretty scary. Like you said at the time, there's maybe, interestingly, it sounds like you were being guided by the light. Literally guided by the light to create Sunlighten. So
it's true. It's the way it was, and there really wasn't, when I think back, there was no plan B, right? There was just a plan A, and we were going to bring, just a very high quality product to market. We were going to make a difference. And at the time, it was really focused on mercury toxicity, because that was what we knew, from my brother. So we're like going to heal all these people. And then it expanded, to Lyme and to mold and to chronic fatigue and to all sorts of different toxic conditions. And now, we can talk about all the rest of the stuff later, but it was really humbled beginning that I will never forget. And I really do my best to always stay in that, come to the business with that point and that heart filled, so that I don't lose sight of why we started Sunlighten and what our goal is, what our mission is. Yeah.
What is it? Simon Sinek said, people don't buy what you sell, they buy why you do it. And so there's so many different saunas out there. There's so many different ways to sweat out there. And I brought Connie on because I don't like the word obsessed, but I'm in love with saunas. And it's been such a major part of my recovery. And what I mean by recovery is from the beauty industry. The sickest time that I experienced myself was when I had my own sauna and started using it. And I noticed a lot of skin issues. And so I'm not saying that to turn you off. I'm saying that because there's many years of toxins inside of all of us. And so I want Connie to talk about today the best way to use these things, because many of us have come to this realization that we're sick. We don't know why. And then we're like, okay, more is better. And I'm going to sit in a sauna, and infrared is far different than near infrared. It's far different than the saunas that you would use in your gym. So we want to talk to you about how they're a lot more efficient and cleaner. And that's really important to me. So sauna use is, I believe that every family should have a sauna in their home, because so many of us have been exposed to hundreds of thousands. I mean, maybe not, that's how many there are out there, but probably tens of thousands of different types of toxins, mercury being a major one. At the time of recordings, I'm going to go to get some major dental work to see if I still have mercury in mine, because I had mercury fillings every one of my molars, and I did not have them removed properly. So I have a lot of symptoms of mercury toxicity, and it might have been that using the sauna has helped save my life too. So can we get into, Connie, if you get into the concept of like, what's the difference of all the different types of saunas out there, the near infrared, far infrared, gym saunas, the ones that you stick your head out of. There's so many out there, and there's so many new biohacks. So what's the difference?
Yeah, so infrared, any sauna has a level of infrared heat, because infrared is a wavelength that comes from the sun that delivers heat. Okay, so in the gym sauna has a level of infrared. Even if you're just in like your office, like in your home and you have lights, like there's a level of infrared. The difference and what makes something healing and therapeutic and transformative is fine-tuning the quantity of the right wavelength. So whether it's far infrared, mid infrared, or near infrared, what you want to do is you want to get rid of all of the non-healing raised, and you want to find, it's kind of like a radio dial, right? Or, where there's noise, it's getting closer, bam, there's clarity, right? So that's what Sunlighten, that's what we've been working on for all these years, is mastering the tuning, getting as much as possible, as close to 100% of what I call like the active ingredient, into the body on the right frequency. So with the far infrared, the mid infrared, and the near infrared, those three components make up the infrared spectrum. So then outside the infrared spectrum is what I call a convectional heat. And so when you say gym saunas, those are what typically has hot air, right? Like oven, when you open the oven like that, like just feeling, there's still value. There's a value to any type of heat. I don't want to give the impression that any type of heat is bad, because it's not. It's really what your goals are, right? So if your goal is just to feel warm, then any heat is good. If your goal is to get rid of mercury, that's a really, really difficult challenge. I mean, that stuff is heavy, it's trapped. There's not a lot of ways to get rid of it. So you really have to go and get the highest quantity of this powerful ingredient, which is far infrared, for the detox, because that goes the deepest into the body, and you have to just power it in as much as possible into your body to change those cells, to get everything working to the point where you're getting a fever, you're increasing your core temperature, and then the water molecules are breaking, and finally it pushes out the water as well as the other stuff that's associated in your body, like mercury. That happens with far infrared. Mid-infrared is a shorter wavelength, so it's hotter. So it provides a little bit more of that hot air experience, but it's not hot air, because of the infrared. Any part of the infrared spectrum has healing properties. It's just all about the quantity and the quality of the frequency, and that's what we bring to the marketplace. That's what Sunlighten are experts in. After the mid-infrared, Diane, then there's the near-infrared. I just kind of coined it as the vanity wavelength, because it's so special for helping the skin, and it does provide this wonderful beauty aspect on the surface of your skin, versus a far infrared, it goes deep. So you glow from the inside out of the purification, and on the near-infrared, it helps you on the surface accelerate cell turnover, help to repair wounds, and help with fine lines and wrinkles. And that's all about a frequency as well in the near infrared. So there's really, to sum it up, there's conventional gym saunas, we'll call them, right? That have you walk in, it has the rocks, it has the steam, it's focusing on hot air. Then there's far infrared saunas, and in those you want to make sure that you get the highest quantity of far infrared, because those are really great for detox. Then there's full spectrum, which has a blend of the far, mid, and near. Sunlighten has the one called Sunlighten FS. That's a great one. It blends it together, so it's kind of like just putting it all together, and it's kind of like an express experience. It's a hotter experience. It goes faster because it's all blended together. And then at the over here, there's 3-in-1, which separates all three wavelengths and removes them from each other, so that you can adjust, and you can have near infrared if you want, or you can have mid infrared, or you can have far, or you can blend them together. And if you really want, you can push a preset program to target detox, anti-aging, weight loss, pain relief, relaxation, or cardio. And that's the 3-in-1. So there's obviously, the reason there's so much confusion is because there's lots of choices, right? And what's really important is, as a consumer, you need to understand first, before you talk about materials that are made of, talk about the wood, the most important thing is, it's that active ingredient. I always think about orange juice, like when I make my kids, I would literally juice the oranges, because a little bit of freshly squeezed is a lot better than a lot of the processed stuff, I wish I could figure out how to do almond milk more frequently, just, by doing it the natural way, because that's such a beautiful way to, just with the almonds. But that's what you're getting when you're getting like with the Sunlighten. That's what we focused on, is you're getting just the active ingredient, just the orange juice, not the other stuff that's in there. And you're getting a high concentration, the highest actually on the market, so that your body can heal itself naturally. So that was a kind of a long answer to what is infrared, but it really is it's a complicated technology, and it's not something that people should just be like, oh, I'm just gonna go get an infrared sauna and call it a day. That's a waste of your time and a waste of your money, because what are you really getting? And it's a complicated, as you can tell, it's a complicated technology, right? It's a scientific technology that we worked really hard to master. And so don't just go out there and buy some heaters that are into, a box and get in there and sweat. Like, really do your research. I'm a resource. Our team here's a resource. We can help guide. Our goal is to help get people the right product for them, not necessarily like they don't have to get the 3-in-1, the right one for them. Doesn't matter. Like, we don't want anybody to spend one dime more than they have to, right? Like, why? So we want to help, because our mission is it's about helping people and leaving this world a healthier place. And so if somebody can do that with a solo pad, and that's all they need, fantastic. Then great, let's get that and be on your way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were talking about the differences between them, and I remember when I first started researching saunas, it was about 4 years ago almost, and it was down to you and Sauna Space, and I researched for probably 2, maybe 3 months before I ended up buying one, because I remember going down the rabbit hole, and just like I do, standard Diane approach is, okay, I'm gonna solve this so I can speak to my clients from an opinion perspective and save them some time in going through all of this, because they look for my stamp of approval of, hey, what do you think? So I love both the technology I have in Sauna Space, and I have never used Sunlight myself, full disclaimer. But the reason I ended up getting the Sauna Space merely was a space issue. Like, it was just it fit in the corner of my house, and that was best for me at the time. But if I had more space, I would have gotten the probably the 2-person that you guys have there, because that's what I was looking at. So there's so many different, like you said, it's like what fits best in a person's budget, time constraints, goals, etc. And the thing that I was really, when you were just talking, I was like, dang it, because I have the near infrared, it doesn't have the far infrared. So the thing that is frustrating is that if you do go on the internet and start searching, you're going to see, Dr. Wilson is one person that's like, only near infrared. That's it. So what is his rationale? I can't even remember when I looked at this 3 years ago. It's still going on.
Right.
What does he say about the difference between why he's such an advocate of the near infrared versus far?
That's his position. His position is, near, like exactly what you just said, that near infrared is more therapeutic than any other part of the infrared spectrum. And, that's his professional opinion. And we try and come to our recommendations, Diane, from a scientific basis. So, at Sunlighten, we're the leaders in infrared light science, and we back that up with as much scientific data and proof as possible. So there's a study that University of Missouri Kansas City did in 2005, so what was that, 15 years ago, where it compared our Solo, which would be a good option for you as well, because it's portable unit. So it was our Solo unit, which is portable, and we had our unit compared with one that looked exactly the same, and so it was double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized. The people did not know which one they were in. It was A or B. But the one that wasn't a Sunlighten was a generic infrared. So kind of what's on the marketplace, right? If they say they're infrared, it would not feel like near infrared. So It would feel more like the far infrared, but it did not have the right quantity, and it didn't have the right frequency, the right quality of far infrared to make a difference, because at the end of the trial, it was a 6-week trial, clinical trial, the Sunlighten solo proved statistically to help the patients in a significant way. For example, it lowered blood pressure significantly, which coming from pharma, I mean, I know how difficult, and millions and some companies billions of dollars they spend to try and come up with a pill that significantly lowers blood pressure, without side effects. And it's just really, really difficult. And here we found a product we developed a product that you're able to lower your blood pressure and help your heart be healthier as a result of sitting in there for 30 minutes. And the other one did not do that. So it helped lower blood pressure, help reduce pain, help remove toxins. We were able to help some people who had some, one of them had some arsenic in their body, and it was gone after using ours, and it was not the same with the other one. So my point of sharing that study, and there's many other studies, but regarding your question about near infrared and Dr. Wilson, is we come to it as like, this is what has been proven in a very robust, double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized. There's no way to, to fake that or to manipulate that study, right? And the data speaks for itself. And ever since then, again, this was 15 years ago, we've had people send their blood work, on the far infrared, and that's when we became very committed to far infrared. And then we started to learn, working with other scientists, wow, there's value to the other parts of the spectrum too. They're just different. They're just different. Mid-infrared doesn't go as deep. So it's not going to remove that mercury. It's
right.
not, it's going to help with pain. My favorite thing about mid-infrared is it's really great at reducing pain in the joints and the tissues because it doesn't go as deep. And it's very powerful for that. It's very effective, especially when you blend it with the far, and then you also have the near separately. You can't get a more powerful tool on the market than having near infrared, mid infrared, and far infrared separate. I wouldn't do the FS. I would do the 3 separate because the near goes on the surface, like in the back of your neck, or like when I was using it when I was training for my marathon, I had used my feet and my knees, put the near infrared right on there, and then the mid infrared would go into my joints, and then the far infrared would go deep into my body and give me that core cellular benefit for pain relief. And you just feel like $1,000,000. And when you talked at the beginning, I loved that as far as, your goal here, as far as increasing energy, and vitality. Like, this is such a great way to do that, to make yourself feel more beautiful. When you feel good and you're pain free, you feel beautiful because you're walking around like, yeah, I got it. So I didn't really totally answer your question about Dr. Wilson, but I don't pay really as much attention. I really focus on what does Sunlighten bring, and what does the data show, and what does the science show. And there's benefit to near infrared. It's a fantastic wavelength, fantastic. Those mid infrared, it's just you need to use it for the right thing, and you don't need infrared for detox. It's just not the right solution. It's good for other things.
Right. And in that case, it may just end up being, dehydrating you a little bit more than, if I'm going to get dehydrated, I'm going to do it because I'm clearing toxins from my body and then rehydrate. And I have a whole system inside of our programs if women come to us and work with us in our big Chi Cleanse, Heal, Ignite transformational program, what we do in there is we teach them not just like, here's the sauna, but here's how to prepare yourself for the sauna. Here's how to do the catching of the toxins after the sauna. There's like a whole routine to it. There's like, you can just sit in a sauna, or you can optimize your experience with the sauna and increase the likelihood that you're going to dump as many toxins as possible without dehydrating yourself. So that's another big important factor that I wanted you to, if you could, speak into. It's like the idea of passive sweating and passive detox, which, like, when I go to the sauna and or when I go to the gym, which I haven't done for a long time, or like the Korean spas, they have saunas there, and I just feel more dehydrated. So what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, because it's kind of like going to the beach, you're being outside. It's the same type of experience where you just get drained. You're just really like, you're just drained.
Totally.
Right. And that is not what we're about. Like, we are completely the opposite. We are about maximizing the experience, getting as much into your body as possible. And that sweat is a restoring energy sweat. It's a restorative. I get done with mine and I am just like, game on. Like, it is amazing. It's such a great reset. And I tell you, I hit it hard. I have, Sunlighten. I have 2 kids, 10 and 12. I have an amazing husband who's also my business partner. I feel like I need to work out and I need to walk the walk. Right. So I take my wellness very seriously, and that time afterwards is just, you do need to drink your water for sure. I always have water with me. But it's just a rehydrating versus, oh my God, I'm just zapped, and also the skin aspect, because I know you're so passionate about the skin. And the skin when you're like at the beach or when you're at a gym in a sauna like your skin does not glow like it glows after using a Sunlighten. Purify the body and the skin will follow is one of our lines here. And it's doing that because, you're ridding the body of some junk, that's in there. And so when it comes out, you just have this beautiful radiant glow. Happens every time somebody gets out. They just look so radiant and then they feel just re-energized. It's a completely different experience. If you haven't tried a Sunlighten, it's a very different experience than a generic infrared, than other infrared, and it's completely different than the hot air saunas, because those are draining.
Yeah, draining. And I think I remember before hearing statistics, like it was like something like an 80% versus 2% or something or no, it was like something like they took sweat. Yeah, they took the sweat. Yeah, it was like 2% of it was toxins versus 20. Yeah, the gym saunas versus 20% of the sweat was toxins. Is that my numbers?
Dr. Klinghardt, who's one of our biggest, longest supporters, Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt, did a sweat analysis years ago, and exactly found that you're using specifically a far infrared was the wavelength that he was assessing, and he still uses Sunlighten signature today. And the output, the result from that is removing more toxins than a hot air sauna by 20%. Yeah.
So it's very dehydrating you're just losing water and not much toxicity if you're at like a gym sauna. So to me, it just sounds like a bad idea because the majority of Americans are chronically dehydrated anyway. And one of the biggest drains to your beauty, your energy and vitality is to be dehydrated. So for me, I have a hard time keeping water in my body. And I don't know if that's because I'm still going through, breast implant cleansing. I'm still 5 months away from my 1-year anniversary, but I can see under my eyes. I know that's dehydration. I know it's not just aging, and I can see in my body, and you guys know the feeling if you feel dehydrated. So, when you said it's restorative, I've never heard that said before, Connie, is that saunas should be restorative instead of I imagine like Auschwitz is what most people think of when they think about going in the sauna, I, for years, taught hot yoga, and it's like people they're coming in all right, I can't go to that hot of a class. So I would imagine it's very similar if you went to a hot yoga class, right? I mean, I think there are I just thought of a question I've never asked before, Connie. So you know how some gyms are doing this now, like boot camp places, they have those infrared, I think they're infrared lights. Or some yoga students. Do you know what I'm talking about? Are those similar to going in a?
There's a lot of halogen infrared bulbs on the market that provide a level of hot heat with a sprinkling of infrared.
Sprinkling.
And so you get hot, which is the goal, right? But it's not like, our goal is not to get hot. That's not what we started this company. That's not how we do anything. You know, our goal is to make you healthier as a result of what we do, as a result of what we bring to the marketplace. And furthermore, to get back to the restorative experience, I mean, Sunlighten's goal, I think we actually have this somewhere downstairs, your experience should be enjoyed, not endured. You shouldn't be counting down the minutes if you're in there. If you're doing that, you have the wrong product for you. Like because it's really, we've really worked hard at making sure that the wavelengths are going into your body versus staying in the air. Some will stay in the air longer, like the full spectrum, the Sunlighten, you know, it's called FS. That's going to stay in the air longer because of the way it's designed, because it blends them together. So it's going to be a hotter experience. Some people want that. So that's why we developed it, you know, and that you're going to have that kind of, okay, like I'm done, you know, feeling. It's still going to be a better experience than going to the gym or anything else, because it has our patented technology in it. And so you're getting as much as possible into the body. But really the ideal is to either do just your far infrared and focus on detox, you know, or to have the three separated, because then you're getting the maximum benefit. And it really is an enjoyable, relaxing experience that you do feel more energetic. And also the other part is like the brain aspect, you know, is like the fog. Like a lot of people have after a day, or especially if you're dehydrated or, you know, or drained, you literally like get done and your brain is just clearer, and you just feel like, okay, I don't know, I just kind of like your computer where you like empty your trash, you know,
yeah,
like, all this new space, in my brain, let's go.
Yeah, a little defrag.
Right.
So I know, and I want to get into some of the other cool things, because I'm like super interested in the cleanliness of the pieces that you guys use to build it, because that's a big topic too. Is if you go to some places like Costco and spend $1,000 on something, that you're going to get a sauna that has more toxic glues and adhesives, and these are things that leak. So we'll talk about that. I also want to make sure we cover the lights too, the light therapy. That's an option. It's an optional upgrade, I know. And I think since you just mentioned it, you know, there's, of course, just a lot of people like using benzodiazepines, a lot of people using birth control. And I'm kind of defining the women that come to me as like the 5 Bs, there's either binge eating, or there's birth control, or there's benzodiazepines, breast implants, or Botox. And a lot of that stems from this culturally conditioned bully, or, you know, inner bitch happening, where it's like, I have to be perfect. So a lot of the women, and this is of course a subset of my own experience that I went through. So I'm attracting parts of who I was before, which was, I thought I needed Botox, and I don't know, my friends were doing it, so I did it. I wasn't really like obsessed with wrinkles. I was like, oh, my friends were doing it, but it made me very, very sick, like really, really sick. And then the breast implant factor too. And then even just considering not even an average one today, not having any of those 5, it's just all of the toxins we're using in our beauty, our skincare routine, the foods, and the most toxic of all of those things are the thoughts that we think on a regular basis. And of the thoughts, 50 to 70,000 we think, about 90% of them are limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging. So we're so mean to ourselves. I know your sauna can't detox the inner bitch necessarily, but it's like you said, it's part of the reason why there's so much brain fog and hormonal imbalances and gut destruction and autoimmune disease and cancer. So let's speak to and I don't know, maybe you do have like a comment on the inner bully ceasing to exist when you're that calm and parasympathetic, maybe. But let's talk about some of the benefits that specifically the multi-spectrum saunas offer versus, you know, just some of like the gym saunas or the near infrareds.
So the main benefits, when we talked about detox, so the far farm infrared specifically is really excellent at removing those toxic elements. Also helps, we've proven in that study I talked about, the UMKC, that it can help with blood pressure and helping your heart, be healthier as a result of increasing circulation, increasing blood flow. There's some great studies from Japan as far as how when you sit inside a far infrared heated environment, it will help to thin the lining and get the blood going better. So there's also data on on decreasing triglycerides, and we haven't done a study like that, but there is data on helping with cholesterol. So that whole aspect is excellent with far infrared. As we talked about, mid infrared is excellent for pain relief with the joint and tissue level, as well as increasing effort. We haven't even talked about the increasing caloric burn. When you combine mid and far together, you get this beautiful, symbiotic result in weight loss, because you're increasing the amount of calories that you burn. So yeah, who doesn't want that? And we have also done a study. Forgot to mention this forever ago. We didn't do the study, but a doctor did in Canada on the belly fat and removing belly fat with using a Sunlighten signature, and showed a significant reduction in the waist, waist reduction. So that's a significant benefit. We actually have inside this Sunlighten Impulse, we have a 3-in-1 program that's designed for weight loss. And then you get into the near infrared, and the best near infrared for maximum benefit is when it's invisible. So invisible LEDs. So a lot of people get confused because they see red lights, or they see, and that's red lights is separate. Let's park and let that, because that can be confusing. But they'll see like you talked about in the hot yoga studio, they'll see these bulbs, and they'll think that, oh wow, that's this near infrared, I'm getting this powerful healing. And we worked with Dr. Whalen, who is the leader on near infrared, and he is the one who guided us on the right frequency, the right size, where to place the heaters inside a product. And so the main benefit is on pain relief, cell rejuvenation, cell acceleration, so anti-aging benefits. There's also benefits with wound healing and tissue regeneration. So those are I kind of went by wavelength, of course, if you blend them all together, then there's the 6 programs on cardio, pain relief, detox, anti-aging, weight loss. There's one more, relaxation.
Yeah, relaxation. I love using my sauna at nighttime. That's when and sometimes I use it in the morning if it's cold. I like to use it. So it's just whatever works for you. And I wanted to ask you about this too, because it's so common now. 5 years ago, when I thought about the sheer volume of toxins that we're all exposed to, it's like we're headed for autoimmune disease and cancer on an epidemic level. And now we have 60% of the population has at least one chronic disease, and 50% of the population has 2, or maybe it was 40%. I heard it last night from, what's his name? I can't remember. Anyway. But it's a very serious thing now. And so are you able to say anything with regard to autoimmune disease, Connie, or specific to my female market is hormone imbalances or gut issues?
Absolutely. So many of these conditions, the underlying reason is toxic overload.
Yep.
And so it comes back to getting the body back into that bright, normal state. And one of the ways to do that is to get rid of the toxins that are in there, whether it's from mold or it's from different hormone imbalance, and get it to this normative state. That's what we did with blood pressure in that study is, we restored, that the blood pressure to the normal 120/80, that normal state. And that's the way that the wavelengths work with the body. And it's really a very, very powerful tool when used correctly, when used, with the right wavelengths. It can be a very enjoyable experience as well.
It is. It's very enjoyable. It's a treat for me. thinking about moving to Sedona for a short time. And I'm like, I've got to have a sauna there. What am I going to do? Even though it's a desert and it's hot there in the summer, I'm like, I got to have a way to sweat passively and detox, because it is one of the greatest tools that I think everybody, like I said, needs to have for all of these reasons. Maybe in the last 5 minutes here, Connie, can we talk about like the difference between the quality materials and the extra little add-ons too? Because I know that people can opt to spend a little extra money on some of these like light therapy, add-ons inside of the saunas. But I'd love for you to focus on like the biggest pet peeve of mine is when we use toxic things to detox toxic things. And it's like, wait, you're adding more toxins to your body with the idea of clearing them. So why?
I agree with you. And that's how we start. When we start like a new product development, I mean, that is a go, no go, decision. It has, all the materials have to, be clean and safe. I mean, you really have to be able to eat anything, ingest anything that's in here into your body, because you're putting it in your body. So we have to make sure that it's healthy. And so that's the Sunlighten way. I mean, that's how we've always done our business. Now we're extra careful. We test it, we test it a lot just to make sure, because we just don't, take anybody's word for it. And then when it's all developed, then we test it again and it's put together. So we make sure, the quality of our wood, is renewable. It comes from forests, it's tracked. Actually, every single part has, like, if you just take it apart, there's like a little kind of marker on it, so we know where it's come from. And then when you have everything together, you can't really see the badge, but like every unit is really handcrafted, with the safest materials, including like this carbonized charcoal bamboo fiber behind. It's not only infrared emitting, but it's non-toxic, it's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, it's a therapeutic fiber. And we spent a ton of time researching the right fiber. Like you see a lot of just heaters that have like steel or whatever cased in it, and you just don't know when that's starting to emit heat, what are you breathing, what are you receiving, and all of ours, we test for safety. I do want to address, you asked a question about the chromotherapy, the light therapy, as well as another enhancement, my favorite enhancement, which is our acoustic resonance therapy. Oh my God.
Oh, sound healing?
Oh, yes.
You have sound healing in there? I didn't even know that. How cool.
Underneath the bench. And so you sit, if it was on, like you'd be sitting on here, and so that gently vibrates underneath.
Wow.
And listen to this beautiful patternless acoustic music. The power is in the patternless piece, because your mind can't track. So there's no way that it knows what's coming next. And so it just really forces the brain to disconnect. And you just immediately, you feel those shoulders drop. And literally within minutes, you're just like, ah.
Yeah.
In fact, I will come in. I don't really do that as much anymore, but I used to come in and sneak away and just come in and turn on the acoustic resonance therapy, a quick reboot, just to have that, kind of not really formal meditation, but that just a little bit of feeling the vibration, letting the mind reset, getting rid of, like what you talked about, that inner bitch, like those inner thoughts that, oh, I can't do this, or I'm scared, or whatever. Like just getting rid of that, just purging that from the brain, and having 5 or 10 minutes to reset it, so then you can, resubmit those positive thoughts, and I can do that, and I totally deserve it, and I am worth it, and if I don't do it for myself, nobody's going to do it for me. Nobody else can take care of me, right? We have this to live this one body. So I tell my kids, it's like you don't get a second chance at the body that you're given. That's it.
Right.
So you got to take care of it. So the light therapy is great if you are affected. Some people are not affected by colored lights and by colors. Some people are. So I always leave it up to the person. To me, it's a personal choice. The acoustic resonance therapy, to me, it's like a no-brainer. I notice a huge difference. And there again is science connected to it, as far as there's post-traumatic stress disorder studies with the sound healing. There's blood pressure studies. There's stress reduce. There's all sorts of studies showing a reduction after using the acoustic resonance therapy. So
Yeah.
that, and the chromotherapy with all 3 different wavelengths, or just the far infrared, or the blend, whatever works best for you. And man, you have a really powerful healing tool in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, all 3 of them. I mean, light therapy, acoustic therapy, and heat for detox and healing and relaxation. I remember when I first was going to the sauna salons. Of course, it was like, my argument was like, it cost me a toll to get there. So it's $5 to get there, $5 to get back. It was like a 20-minute drive, and I had a membership, and it was like $150 a month. And I was using Sunlighten, so they had Sunlighten saunas there. So it's like, I remember how amazing it was. It was just the inconvenience of getting there and the gas money. And it was like, I started doing all the math. I'm like, I need to have one of these in my own home, because I need to go from naked to the shower. And they don't have those in most saunas salons. So, I just remember thinking the difference between the one that I have now and the one that you guys have created was a world of difference. I've got to go because I've got a podcast interview, but I just wanted to say that some of the things that I don't like about the sauna space is it takes this is a near infrared, takes like 15 minutes to heat up. It takes a long time to sweat. It doesn't have a lot of these bells and whistles that I really love and associate with saunas and like me time. So when I have my next place and there's like space for it, I remember when I used to buy houses, I was like, there needs to be space for a pool table. And now I'm not so much into the pool tables that I'm going to be like, there needs to be space for my sauna. Last question. How much if somebody were to use it, let's say 3 times a week, how is there like a major increase in bills for like electricity or power?
No, it's the same wattage as your blow dryer. So you're not going to notice the difference. I don't notice any difference. And we have downstairs, we have a beautiful healing day spa called Sunlight Day Spa. And we have 4 Sunlighten Conquers, a little bit smaller than this size down there, going all day long. I mean, and it is not, obviously it uses electricity, but it is not a drainer at all.
Yeah. Yay. And a lot of people put it in their garage. So that's a great place to put it. Like, yeah, the car sits outside. The sauna's going to go inside. So I can be naked and my neighbors won't bother me. You guys, this is what I'd recommend you do from watching this video. I'm going to put some notes below so that you can read more about the ways that you can access Connie and her team to really have a good conversation about, like, here are all the things I'm looking at. Like, don't just go buy a random one and spontaneously, if you're at a show or something, do your homework. I spent 3 months before I decided on mine. And you don't have to spend that long because we're trying to make it easy for you. But the idea is that look at what's out there, look at the materials. It's going to be overwhelming because you're like, I don't understand all these different materials. So it's very important. If you're looking at a low sticker price, there's probably a reason for it. Look at where they're made. Look at where the products come from. Look at what the products are. If you can't pronounce it, it's probably not good for you, just like food, right? So Connie is the top of the barrel. And I don't know anybody that has mastered your line as well as you have and have had. I think you're the biggest, right? You're the most frequently purchased sauna that's out there. Yes.
Well, we've been doing it a long time. So, it takes it's a lot of 20 years of experience, and we love what we do and we're dedicated. And, and I'll just add to your listeners, as we covered a lot, but we covered it kind of up here, right? Like kind of high level.
Right.
I'm offering myself to you, Diane, if they have, you like a bunch of questions, I'm more than happy to come back and just deal with one aspect of infrared light and be that resource for your listeners. So just let me know if you get a bunch of questions. We can just do a quick, 15-minute kind of supplement,
cool.
To address if they have a bunch of the same questions. I'd be happy to do that.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks again so much for being here, Connie. Thank you guys for being here with us today. And if you have any questions, DianeKaiser.com/ask is the best place for that. Or you can contact me and you can find all of that information on DianeKaiser.com. There is a lot of choices out there, and you could have spent any amount of time. You could have been doing anything else with this hour. So I appreciate you being here, for your trust, for your support, and ultimately for you supporting and self-loving and self-caring yourself, because you are the only one that can do this for yourself. You're number one. Everybody else gets the best of you when you prioritize yourself and your self-care. I'm Diane Kaiser. Thanks for being here, and bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If this episode really tugged at your soul and you're ready to have your personal breakthrough, we would love to have a heart-to-heart with you to get you crystal clear on 3 things. What do you want? What's standing in your way? And how do we get you to your soul goal in the fastest time possible? Visit my site, dianekaiser.com/call to schedule your free 1-hour connection session with one of our warriors to map out exactly how you want to look, feel, and live. We've helped thousands of women warriors just like you all around the world free themselves from the symptoms and suffering they never thought possible. And you just might be our next success story. Talk soon.